So, my name's Amy, and welcome to my podcast. I wanted to answer a question I get asked quite a lot on Instagram, which is, how the heck did you get into this? So, I've been doing this luxury fashion influencing thing for at least 2 years, probably going on 3 now. This is how it went down. So, I started doing Instagram several years ago just for fun. I was posting pictures. I've always been that person that puts everything on social media, even way before this. I've done Facebook, all of it, even like MySpace, if you knew what that was back in the day. So I've just been that person. I always say there's like 95% of people are scrollers, so they spend their time boop, 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 boop. And sometimes I'm so jealous of those people. And there's 5% of us that love to post, and I happen to be that 5%. So I'm doing Instagram for fun. I'm sharing Joe and I's love story, our life. We do so much traveling. We go to Michelin restaurants. I'm learning more about fashion, posting almost every day. A friend of mine, Bonnie Smith, she came to me. She's a personal stylist in Fort Worth. And she was like, at some point you should probably look into creating an LTK, creating a fashion business out of this because you are so passionate about it. So I kind of put that in the back of my head. And I post this reel on my Instagram. So I'm kind of making up this number, but let's say I have 2,500 followers or something like that. So I take a lot of content, and I had posted this reel, or actually I took a video of this reel of my bathroom and put it in the back burner because I was like, I'll just post it when I get around to it. One day I'm like, Amy, you should post that bathroom reel. So what the reel is, it shows me going into the bathroom, which I designed, and it's absolutely incredible. The sky opens up where you can see the sun come through. You got your shower head and you're facing the ocean. You can see dolphins and whales sometimes, and it's the most incredible bathroom, right? Obviously, I wanted to show it off. Who wouldn't, right? But I never, like in a million years, thought anything of it. So I post the bathroom reel. It starts going like semi-viral, and I was like, oh wow, this is cool. And my daughter Kelly, she was like, Mom, but you should check out your numbers on that reel you posted. It was like going, 10,000 views is a lot of views, like for someone like personal like me. Then it started going like 100,000, then 200,000, and she was so cute. We would have the funnest time. She would like either text me or call me like every day or every other day. And she's like, Mom, it's up to like 500,000, and we were like, oh my God, this is so cool, because I had never had a viral reel, right? It hits 1 million views, and I'm like, whoo, I hit 1 million views. This is so cool, right? So circle back to, or moving forward, I don't know, just a few weeks later. You guys are going to die when I tell you how many views this got up to. Some of you might guess. This bad boy got up to almost 8 million views. I mean, and it was just so random. It was so natural. I didn't even think about it. I just took this reel, and they say like, just be your authentic self, which obviously I was. And so all of a sudden I have an 8 million view reel, and I gain from this one reel, I would probably say 15,000 followers. So here I am, whatever it was, 17, 18,000 followers. And I remembered my friend Bonnie, her advice, and she was like, you should do this. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. I've gained some followers. I love doing it. So let's, create a little business out of it. So I opened up an LTK. LTK is Like to Know It. It's a shopping app where you can follow fashion influencers or home decor influencers, and they post what they wear. They post advice. They post their shoes. They post their coffee tables or their couches or whatever. And it gives like a real lifetime view instead of you just seeing an ad. You see a person and you kind of get to know them and you trust them. And so then you shop what they say to do. So you actually have to apply. So I applied to be a content creator on LTK, and I got accepted. And I just started doing it. And so instead of me just posting like, this is what you're wearing, or this is what I'm wearing, this is the brand, and because I would just tag everybody. So I'm tagging Alice and Olivia, I'm tagging Stuart Weinsman, I'm tagging all these brands anyway. So instead of tagging the brands, I add it to my LTK and then put post, and then I create a link so someone can see me on my stories and they can click the LTK and it goes directly to shop that look. So that's kind of how it all got started. And I don't want to forget to tell this story because I was actually recently on another podcast where I was the guest, and I was telling about the story about Joe's reel that went viral. And I completely messed up the number when I was telling the story. There's this reel that I posted of Joe or at a lake house in Texas, and every once in a while on a lake, it doesn't happen very often, but there's like this seismic reaction to the top of water. And if someone makes this, heavy noise, then the little fishies on top, the little minnows, they jump out of the water and come back. They go whoop, boop, boop. So we're out by the water. I'm just filming, and Joe goes, it's one of those nights. It's perfect, clear night, soft, clear water. And Joe goes, hey! And when he screamed, the little minnows go poop, poop, and then they come back down. So I post this reel on TikTok, which I just started TikTok. Over 8 million views. Not even kidding. So when I was telling this story on this podcast the other day, I kind of forgot about it. I hadn't looked at my TikTok, and I said it had gotten up to like 3 or 4 million views, but no, it got up to 8 million views, which is more than the bathroom reel, which is so funny because everybody loves Joe, and he's definitely going to get more views than I do. So anyway, that's kind of how I got started doing the whole fashion influencing. My niche that I loved for many years was getting luxury for less. I absolutely adore buying fashion. I love high-end fashion. I think it's a positive and a win-win because, you can get an item at Target, which I love Target. I actually think they have some really, really cute items, but it's not going to last. You're going to wash it a couple times. It's going to fade. The material's not as good. So that's why I started really getting into like higher end stuff, because if you buy designer, it's going to last a long time. The fabric, the care, everything that's put into it is incredible. So that's what I started doing. Well, you guys, if you look at how much like Chanel and Hermes and all these brands and Dolce, it's so expensive. So how can you try to build your wardrobe up to get these luxury finds for less? So I started doing this years ago. Even before I met Joe, I would go like on eBay. So I'm gonna give you a few tips. So go on sites like eBay. In my opinion, it's a very trusted site. I know some people might not agree with me, but I've had nothing but success on there. You just got to learn what to do. So there's filters on eBay. So example, let's say you really want a Burberry scarf, which I think Burberry scarves are delicious because they just last a long time. They're always neutral colors. They go with everything, and everybody knows Burberry. So example, you want a Burberry scarf for you, or let's say your man, as a gift. You go on there and you filter several things. My opinion, you should do new with tags or just new. You should filter out, make sure that the person's an authorized seller. So that means that eBay has verified them as to be legit sellers and not just some Yahoo, trying to make some money. You can also click on what they've sold in the past, and it'll show you like everything they've sold in the past. And these are companies. So these are people that are doing this a lot of times even in their home. They have hundreds and thousands of products that they need to get rid of. And they know if they get bad reviews, they're not going to have their own company. So they're no different than me. They have their company and they're trying to be successful. So why would they try to screw you on eBay? So that's how you do it. I think that's, before I met Joe, that's where I started getting some of my my Burberry scarves, and I remember getting some like luxury handbags, and I learned my lesson the hard way. I remember one time I got one that just said good condition. So it'll be excellent condition, very good condition, and then I think poor and whatever. I went with like the medium of the road, and I would never do that again. Just make sure you get either excellent condition, very good condition, because, I think the Louis Vuitton first showed up and it was like smushed and had some marks on it. And I never even wore it. I don't even know what happened to that purse because it was so long ago. But, don't make the mistakes that I did. Obviously you have the other sites. You have Postmark. You have one that I've really started zoning into lately called Vestaire. I really like that site. I do a little bit on the RealReal, just depends. Second-hand luxury handbags, Luxe Jour. That's my go-to place here in Irvine, California. And I've bought several amazing bags, and Joe bought me my 10-year Himalayan Birkin bag, which I'm very proud to say. He totally surprised me with this bag, and he worked with Luxe Jour. So you find like these very, they're all qualified sellers, trustworthy, and you don't have to spend that much, ladies. You don't. One example of this is actually the blouse I have on. I saw this Balmain blouse 3 years ago, and I was like obsessed. I was like, I have to have that blouse. Well, if you look it up online, I think it was running at least $2,000. I was in New York when I first saw it, and I was at Bergdorf's, and I was walking through because I think I was there for like a fashion event, and I saw it, and I was like, I don't know, 2,200. I'm like, dang it, because it's one blouse. You have to really love it, right? So I didn't buy it, but I had it in the back of my mind, and I started looking maybe, I don't know, once a month or something, and then I ended up finding it on, I believe it was eBay, new with tags, all of those things, and I think I ended up buying it for $800. This blouse is so thick. The material on it is absolutely incredible. There's nothing ever going to happen to it. It's an incredibly made blouse, signature Balmain. Like if and you follow high-end fashion, you see this blouse, you're like, ooh, look at her Balmain blouse. So that's like little things that I have done in the past. I highly recommend it. If you guys have any questions about this, I love finding things for people. I get asked all the time on Instagram. People DM me and they're like, hey, can you help me find blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yes, because it's like a kid in the candy store and you just want to be successful and find it. So if you guys need any help with this, I am here for you. I love it. I enjoy it anyway. So just use my expertise because I own a lot of designer stuff for less.